Good morning, Judy from Thistledew Creations. Welcome back and thanks for joining me if you're new. Today I thought I would use the master boards that Rami sent me. Rami Pander from Junk Journal Junkies Canada. We did a recent napkin swap and she sent me these master boards in a part of one. And they've got colors that I like. And so I thought I would cut out some tags and ATCs from them. First of all, I'm going to back them onto some cardstock. They're not a bad thickness, but I think I just like them a little more stable. So I've got this file folder sitting here. So I think today's its day. It's been used a few times. There's 3 or 4 layers of stickers over where you would write the customer's name. So it's been used a lot and the coloring works well with this. So first thing I'm going to do is just glue this whole thing down. Make sure I've got a spot where the back is clear. Hopefully that's a good clear back. So I'll glue here. We're going to lose a bit here. So I'm going to decide where I would be most okay with losing. I guess this corner. So I'm just going to take my glue stick and go all over the file folder. It's a brand new glue stick. And just nice thick coat of the glue stick everywhere. You can't see my glue stick like you can see Brenda's. I still haven't got any of those purple ones yet. But I can tell that I've got it completely covered. And then I'll take my tacky glue and do border around the back of the master board. Right along the edge. And I do kind of want to do it all over because if I'm going to cut this up, I don't really know where my edges are going to be. So I'm just going to give it an all-over bit of wet glue through the middle. Between the two glues, it'll be good, solid card. And this also will allow me to move it around a little bit before it sticks down. Really like using the combination. And then we'll put this right up to the crease. Use every little bit of this that we can. And then I'll just take my bone folder and just go around the edges. And let's squeeze that glue a little bit. Move it around underneath there. And that firms it up right away. It was a little wavy before. Now it's nice and flat. I'll do the same thing over here for this guy. And this one, I'm just going to do it right on the back. Both glues right on this piece. So I like the glue stick because I'm not missing any spot. Every single spot has some glue. And then I like the white glue because it's extra tacky, doesn't dry up and let go. And it also allows me to move it around a little bit. So all the way through the middle, just squeezing and moving, and then a nice little line down that side. Nice little line down this side. And I'm just going to take a look, make sure I've got nice clear backing there. Go right here. And again, just take your bone folder or a credit card. I've got a triangle card from Canadian Tire. That does the job if you don't have one of these bone folders. You can tell this has some collage on it by the sound it makes. Trying to get right on the edges and not curling up. So we'll cut those up. And I think I'm going to make my fancy topped tags if it will punch. If not, we'll just do some angle top tags. So I'll put my cutting board and scoring board, and I'm going to turn it over because I want to just cut off. And this is still a little wet to be doing this, but I don't want to stop and start. I've got a little bit there that kind of messed up on me, but I can trim it further later. So that gives me a straight edge. Tear down that edge. And then the writing is all visible from this direction, so I think I'll cut my tags this way. Cut that file folder color off. Just make sure my edge is still stuck down. And over here, we've also got an edge that needs to come off. Very carefully scoring first because of the collage. Pull any pieces up. There we go. I'm going to leave the bottom edge torn. I kind of like that. And then let's do it blind just to see what we end up with. So here's what it looks like right now. And let's just see what we can come up with. Let's do 2.5 for ATCs. And also that's the widest size that my punch will take is 2.5. So we'll make sure we're not over 2.5. And going from this side, I don't have to be quite as careful, although it is still a little bit soft in some areas where there's a lot of white glue. So that, I'm going to do another 2.5. I'm not getting really good smooth cuts probably because it's a little wet. If you let everything dry a little bit first, you'll probably have better luck getting smooth cuts. That one's better. And then we end up with one that's wider. How wide is it? It's about 3.25. It's too bad it wasn't 3.5. I'm going to cut it again at 2.5. Let's just see. Do I have a preference? Not really. So a few little strips that probably won't get used. I could make little tiny tags out of this one actually. But these strips I probably won't use. You just start to make choices along the way. So here, this one, I want to just make some little, I can't really do much about putting it in the punch. It doesn't work well, but I can do little round corner tags that can go into small pockets. So I'll switch to my guillotine. And let's see, this doesn't even look like it's straight, but I'm going to go ahead and just do little 2-inch ones. I find I don't have enough tiny things for my little small projects. And then these cards, these are going to be either ATCs or punched tags. So let's see how it punches first. I'll try one. Goes nicely in there. It's the right width. And then it's just whether my punch will cut it all the way. It didn't cut it all the way, but it did give me the shape. And then just a few little things to either be cut off or sanded off. So that did work, and it's amazing how a masterboard changes when you cut it up. It does have a little bit too rough of an edge at the bottom for my liking. So actually what I think I'm going to do, well, I can't do what I was thinking because that would put this upside down. I was going to put another punched edge at the bottom. Could do that if I wanted to use it as a belly band. Let's do that. Let's make it a belly band. And this, oh, I know what's wrong. The paper's still in there. The paper that came off is still stuck in there. Sometimes it just doesn't come out. And I think that causes some of the punching problems. There we go. And there's the rest of it. So let's see if we can make this a double-sided punch. I have another idea for it too. It just came to me. So again, it did punch it, but it's left some rough spots, probably because it's damp. I don't think it's because it's too thick, because it seems to want to punch it. It's just that it's soft and it punches like a firmer paper better. But that is working. Now I can use this as a belly band. I could also fold it like this. Now that's not a good spot to fold that, but I can glue that down around the spine there. Actually, I'm going to use a tiny bit of 3-in-1 to hold that down. I still haven't filled my bottle or switched to a new bottle. I've got a fresh bottle in the other room. Just a dab of 3-in-1. And I'll just clamp that while we cut some more. And I'm thinking about making a little booklet that ties closed, is what I'm thinking there. And then let's see. I really like this part. I don't want to lose that. So I just wonder if I can get an ATC above it. 3.5, not quite, or below it, 3.5. No, either way, I'm right into it. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make another belly band. Make a belly band with it. That would be a vertical belly band, and then this is in the middle. Let's see if it'll punch. Oh, I've still got my scraps in there. They didn't just pop out for some reason. Maybe because it is soft. It's kind of catching. So normally, if I wasn't like crafting on the spot for a video, I would probably glue up a bunch of stuff and then leave it overnight and then work with it the next day. I would recommend that. It might not give you this problem if you do that. There. That one really didn't work well. I mean, it gives me the shape to follow, but it didn't punch out very well. But at least my paper didn't get stuck in there too. tiny bit disappointed with this punch. It's from Temu. It just doesn't always cut like I think it should. In this case, I kind of do think it's the softness from the glue. Just a quick punch from the back side will let it release if it's sticking on you. That one's stuck quite a bit. So that makes a good size belly band. It would fit in most of my journals that I do, and I really like this part, the inhale, exhale. And then let's make a couple of just tags. See if this one works any better after it's had a chance to dry. So here, I could do 3.5, 7, and end up with a tiny tag. Do that. Let's do some ATCs. So they're already 2.5 wide, so 3.5 tall gives you an ATC. Let's see what I want my tag to be. What does this say? Your life is as good as your something. Oh, kindness maybe? That's awkward having that at the very top. So maybe I'll do my ATC down here. Or leave that as a tag. I could leave that as a tag. Because if I put that through the punch, that awkward little spot at the top will disappear. This one's a little wide. It's a little bit wider than 2.5 actually. So let's just see if we can correct that. Yeah, this needs a sliver taken off, maybe 1/8 of an inch. Again, I've got scraps stuck in there. They're supposed to just fall out, but they don't always. One's popped back. It's just not letting go of the paper. So I find if you give it a firm tug, the paper will come out, and that's where you get the little bit of tearing. But if it's not cutting through, there's not much you can do. Now some people say if you sharpen the blade by cutting tin foil. Let's try that. Tin foil. We'll just see if it makes any difference. Because you saw how difficult that last one was to get out. So I'm just taking some Betty Crocker tin foil from Dollarama and folding it into 4 layers. Actually, I've got to get it skinny enough to go in there. So I'll fold it right up so that it'll slide in there. Flatten it down as much as I can. Excuse me, I'm just a little bit sneezy today. And just cut through all that tin foil with the punch. Now it cuts it nicely. I'm going to just square it off and do it again. I've heard people say this works, and I've heard other people say it doesn't work at all. We shall see if it does anything for us. And that's really stuck in there. See, cut this again. Just sharpen these scissors at the same time. Slide that in there one more time. And just see if it makes a difference. Cut the next piece of paper. It's not going in, so let me see if I can get cardstock to go in. That's too wide. There's still some stuck in there. Tin foil. So that's one thing to always check, is either put a stiff piece of cardstock in to make sure there's nothing stuck in your punch if it's not punching right. And then don't waste this tin foil, use it for your scissors. Just sharpen them as well. Let's see if it made a difference. So this would be the top edge. And again, it's just a little wide. It's going in though. And also, when you're sitting down, you don't get as much of your weight behind when you're pressing. So I think that makes a difference too. Maybe for the next one, I'll stand up. So that did not cut well. Gives me something to follow, but it still turns out better than if I was trying to cut it freehand, let's say that. I should do with the guillotine. So I want to bring this down to here. So let's see if I can get an ATC out of the bottom edge. 3.5. No, I cut off the word day. So maybe I'll just leave that as a long kind of bookmark sized tag. My edges are a little rough on this because of using that trimmer before it was dry. So hopefully you'll have time to let yours dry and it won't do that to you. So again, I'm just going to, these scissors take a real beating, so let's just give them a little love. I don't use them much for fussy cutting. It's just trimming stuff when I'm working here at my desk. But they get glue, they get all sorts of things that they are asked to cut through. So hopefully this will clean up the blades and sharpen them a little bit. And that way you're not wasting that tin foil. Okay, and then this one I think will be able to go into the guillotine. I just trim it a little bit. So I want to cut the excess off of this edge. That'll give me a square edge to start from. And then I got to get this small enough, so I'll cut 3.5. Let's see what I can get for ATCs out of this. I have an idea for an ATC too, that I might be able to use this full width. So 3.5, and then I'm just going to cut the file folder off of each side. And let's do that again, but I want that pink tag. It doesn't matter if it's cut in half. We have to remember that when we see a tag and there's like part of a label on it, it's fine. But I'm always trying to keep the whole thing. I don't know why I have to do that. So this just squares it up really well if you've got it right against the fence at the top. And if you've got your guillotine far enough up that it's not holding it out like this. So I'm just kind of squaring it up. And then let's see what length this is, or what height this would be. 3.5 gives me the whole pink tag, which is what I was thinking I needed to do. And then another little piece, which is what? 1.5, just a little less than 1.5. So I can put that into the punch, give myself a different width. There's a little bit of writing sideways up here, but I can just use that. This will cut it off. So this goes right down into the bottom channel. And then it comes out like that. Now, it wasn't in there perfectly centered. You can see that this shoulder is wider than this shoulder. So I'll put it back in the guillotine and even those up. It's because it's not exactly 1.5 wide. And I kind of have to eye this. I want to get it running straight. See how it's not running straight there? How does that do? A little better. I like the texture on this. It reminds me of leopard print. It's just dots, but I just like the colors and the texture. And so let's do some rounded corners on these little guys. And I think the smallest one for sure. That one didn't cut. So again, you need to get that right down into the corner there. That's a nice little tag, and you could use that to back up a word, or you could put a little hole in the end and use it as a dangle or a little mini tag in a little mini journal, an itty bitty journal. And you do have to watch that the paper scraps don't collect in here and get it all jammed up. This makes a nice little bit of coordinated ephemera that can be sent in Happy Mail or used on a page. I like this little tag. Just round the bottom corners. Make it feel more finished. That one's good. This is my ATC. I'll round the corners just a little bit on these, on this. And then these ones, I do want to make into ATCs, and I'm going to do a folded ATC, which I have not done yet. Round the corners on these. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try something new. I'm going to leave my camera running and ink. And then I'm going to try to edit it out just by clipping that section out rather than stopping the camera, doing the thing I want to edit out, and then trying to combine two videos. I got thinking that if I just left the camera running, even if it's a couple hours till I get back to it, I can always clip it out in the middle. So I'm going to ink up all the edges, and I will come back and then we'll see what we make out of them. I've decided to switch from vintage photo to ground espresso. For some reason, this collage that I got from Rami doesn't seem to be taking the ink very well. I'm wondering what she used over top of it. I guess it's starting to show up now. Maybe it's just because it was fairly dark. There's one. This one's like a bookmark size. I do need a new bookmark for my Outlander book that I'm reading. Maybe it'll become my new bookmark. I think I would prefer vintage photo on the back. That's a really light card. I might add some just to make it look less dirty and more vintage. For the most part now, the only editing I do is just adding in the description and the tag words and stuff. I don't do much in the way of deleting things and adding words over top or anything like that. And I think for my second year of YouTubing, what I want to try to do is make each video better than the last one, instead of just churning them out. Plan out my projects more, have all my supplies before I sit down, so I don't have to run and get things like tinfoil. But, you know, sometimes things just come up and you have to interrupt what you're doing and go do it. But if I keep the camera rolling and I can delete those sections so that you're not sitting through it, because I know people just won't sit through it. And I don't really blame them. It's not entertaining to sit looking at a screen that's not doing anything, even if it's really pretty. So I guess this would be arm's length crafting, because it's just whatever's on my desk, and I picked a couple of things out of my Happy Mail to use. I always try to use something up out of my Happy Mail right away instead of just putting everything away. And a masterboard is one of those things I want to use them up. I don't tend to use my own because I want to hoard them. So it's easier to cut somebody else's masterboard up, and so that's what I've done. Here's the vintage photo. I definitely think that looks better on the back. Oops. Oop. Those little ones are hard to hold on to. Trying not to get it all over my fingernail, which is, I know, is a futile endeavor. All I do is at the end of the day, I do a quick wipe over my fingernail with acetone. Don't take all my polish off, just take the ink off and then add another coat of the pink. And then I'm good to go for the next day. I like the size and shape of this one. And then we have our belly band. Don't really need to ink the back of it unless I'm going to have it that it lifts up somehow. When I'm filming, I have my iPad in front of me and I can see a lot of notifications happening as I craft. It sometimes can be distracting, but it does let me know if there's something important I need to stop for. Let's see how that did. That seems to have worked. This is the one I wanted to do the little booklet. ATC. And the inking process gives you time to think. I think it's Julie from Camilla Crafts Design that says ink and think. I'm not sure what you want to do. Just ink the edges and think about it for a second. Two more. My bookmark, that's already done. I just want to see what happens when you add the vintage photo over top of the ground espresso. It does warm it up a little bit. The ground espresso just almost looks dirty, whereas the vintage photo makes it look vintage because it's yellowy. Going to put some of that through the center too on that one. Now, I've got them all inked. I'm going to pull out some ribbons for the tops of them. Possibilities, anyway. And let's see what we can make. So this one's just a tag. And I think it just needs a ribbon. Got some orange in there, so I'm just looking to see. I've got this variegated yarn that might just be nice with this pink and orange section in it. See how my sharpened scissors work. And one thing that I've started to do instead of a lark's head every once in a while is just push one side through and tie a knot and just sort of position the knot in the front. I don't think I have enough here to do a little bow. It doesn't really need to be a little bow. But just those two colors being the same colors that are in this little collage really kind of looks nice. And then I could do a little flower or something. Buttons or little wooden. I've got some little flowers here, little wooden flowers that are the right color. Maybe I'll put something like that up here. It's already colored. Get a handle on it with my tweezers. Stuff doesn't want to flow today. I might have to add some acetone. I know that the tacky glue will be fine. It seems to really hold the wood well. So let's put that right on into that green tag there. And then maybe this pink flower. Maybe a couple of buttons or some bling. I've got some bling right ahead of me here too. Green bling. Maybe a blingy butterfly. I usually like to do at least 3 things, so let's grab a couple of buttons, finish it off. Again, I'll stick with either a pink or an orange tone. I don't have a lot of orange tones. There's a little yellow one. It's a good color. Just put that little trio there. I won't take those too far because I'll probably need them again. And I'll rely on my 3-in-1 this time. Not my 3-in-1, my Aleene's. Because my 3-in-1 just isn't cooperating. There we go. What do you think, Remy? Let's set that aside to dry. And now my bookmark. I think I want a bit more of a tassel on the bookmark. So let's see what I've got. I've got this, it's almost like non-woven fabric. I'm going to just cut this in half lengthways. Colors are good for this. I want to mix it with some other ribbon or something. So I'm going to take just 1/2 of it, cut it in half lengthways, and add in this green section of this green and blue variegated yarn. 2 pieces of that. What else? What other color have I got? I've got a little bit of blue in this one. So that blue section works. A lot of brown. I could use a piece of this. A piece or some twine. Or the gold maybe. Well, that's stretchy though. There's a little piece of like a dull green. So let's see if I can get all of this through, maybe just one piece of that non-woven stuff. Use these 3 pieces, so a little bit of green, blue, pink. And if I double that over and engage the help of a pokey tool, I should be able to get that through. Pokey tool or even my blunt tweezers could help me get that through the hole. This one I will do a lark's head, so it's more like a tassel. And go through everything and then pull it tight. And then I'll chop it off about there on an angle. Like that. A bit more of a tassel look. You need me? Good one. So 2.5 is the size of an ATC. Let me see what this gives me. So I'm just scoring it instead of cutting it. I'm just using the channel to run my plastic knife along. That gives me a good score line. And now you see that gives me a folded ATC. It's not exactly even, but that's okay. Important thing is that the overall size is not bigger than 2.5 by 3.5. It needs to be 2.5 by 3.5, which is exactly what it is. So then I will score or burnish that down to a nice tight fold. In both directions works best. And then we'll decorate the front of it. Maybe what I'll do is on this side, I will put a lace all along this edge peeking out, or something peeking out. Same thing with this one. So let's score it too. This one I wanted that pink thing on the front, which on one full side anyway. So let's see if I get from 2.5. I'm just along the edge of it. And this way, 2.5. I got a little bit better. So let's do it this way. And forth a few times. I'm pressing fairly hard, trying to keep on the same line. And then it folds quite easily. And you can burnish that side, and then fold it the other way and do that again. It still wants to stay open, but yeah, I like the look of that side, and I like the look of that side, so that's good. And how's our overall dimension here? 2.5 right on, and 3.5 right on. So ATCs, let's do a little quick ATC decorating. On the insides, I've inked around. I do want to ink this crease. Of course, I couldn't do that before because it wasn't creased. Ink both sides of the crease. And I ended up using the vintage photo on the backs of this light colored manila file folder. I didn't really like the way that the ground espresso looked on it. It looked just too muddy or something. And then this one's already inked. Okay, so those spots where it's not quite even, I want to put I think I'm going to do lace. I always like a little bit of lace in my projects, especially the cotton lace. Let's see what I've got here. There's some creamy one. So I will just put a little bit of tacky glue right along the edge. Spread it around just a bit with the nozzle. And a fairly big amount because it's going to absorb into the lace a little bit. And then I'll just put the lace on, poking out, and I'll just fold it closed to see how much I want it to poke out. I don't want it to be wider than 2.5 when it's closed, but I can bring that out a little bit, just so you can barely feel the texture of the lace along the side. And just kind of hold that down, cut that off, flush. And then what I usually do is just nip off these corners. In this case, I can follow that scallop in the lace as a guide, just like that. And then this just needs to be trimmed a tiny bit. And then I can ink that as well, the edge of the lace. It's not perfectly even, there we go. And just the tips, just with a little bit of vintage photo and around the corner. Kind of use my finger behind it as a, there, and that looks pretty when you open it up too. And that ends up being the front because that, yeah, that's, if it opens like a book, that's the front. And then here we'll do the same thing. Pop that down a little bit long, and then make sure it doesn't stick out too far. I want just a bit of the texture to be felt along the edge. And that lace is just about done. I haven't been buying it every time I go to the dollar store lately, but I'll start again when I start to get low. First, I'll go check my overstock in my craft room and see how much I have in there. And again, just ink that a little bit and along the edge. So that just evens up my little book. So I guess this is the front, although that is upside down. So maybe this is the front on this one, and you open it up to the lace. And on this one, this is the front. So that's 3 different versions then of this ATC. So for the focal point, like her collage in the background is beautiful, but I usually want to put something else on top of it. For this one, I think maybe this flower, because it really picks up the pink down here. I'm gonna just ink it a little bit so it dulls it down just a bit. It's a little bright. It's not changing it much, but do it anyway. And then we'll use the tacky glue. And I don't want to lose this dotty stuff that reminded me of leopard print. Kind of like that. And I think I'll just slip this little piece of lace in underneath, use it up. And then And there's a bit of gold here. Let's see, I've got some more bits of, oh, there's a little bit of the gold mesh. So I could put that in under this side. Just might want to put a little more glue. Kind of hold it down. Yeah. I like the little bits of gold mesh, which is so strange for me because I've always been a silver person. A little bit of lace, a little bit of mesh, a flower, and maybe a couple of buttons. Let's see, we've got the pink accent already. There is a little bit of blue back here that I wouldn't mind pulling out. So let's see about a little blue button over here. And then maybe just a little rhinestone or something. I've got clear. Iridescent one maybe. So this goes right in beside the petal. And then a little iridescent rhinestone, dark iridescent. It's already sticky, but I'm going to put just a dab of glue down for it. Use one of those little pens that lifts up things like this. Yeah, just a little bit of iridescence with the blue and the pink. And then you open up, you can write inside, and then I'll put my Thistledew label on the back. Actually, I might be able to put the Thistledew label on the inside of this one. If it doesn't work well to cover the back side. Is a little bit crooked. I'll put it back to be trimmed when I have my ripple scissors out. And I better ink this. I think I'll be happier if I ink it. It's already coffee dyed, so I'll just use some vintage photo to ink the edges. Feel like it really does make a difference. And then I put the glue all the way along, just kind of squiggle, and then decide where I'm going to put it here. Normally I would put it on the back of a card about here. I guess it really isn't covering anything too critical there. Just wiggle it back and forth until it sort of doesn't want to move so easily. Takes a second for that glue to grab. And then I'll sign the back beside my label. And then I could maybe give Rami some credit here. I could put masterboard. By Rami Pander. I don't want to steal her work. I want to give her credit for it. Maybe I'll send these back to her. And I really like the neutral. It's really weird, you know, because I do neutral collages, but when I see this, it makes me want to do more neutral with black for some reason. But I love the pink and green additions to it. So Actually, I should have used this here. That would have been cute. So my label, I don't want it there because I don't really want to cover that. Maybe on this one I'll put the label inside. And the credit inside. It's sort of like a collaboration between me and Remy. I assume that you did this, Remy, yourself, that you didn't pass it along from someone else. So I'm giving you credit. Hopefully I'm right. I always try to make something out of the things people send me instead of just passing them along to someone else. I'm going to just tuck this in underneath the lace a little bit. It's not the normal place where I put it, but we're here to break the rules. My signature, and then masterboard. By Remy. And into some glue there. And the year. So, do I want something pink on the front maybe? That zipper is the right color, but I almost should have used that instead of the lace. I could layer it up, but I can't. I don't want to make it any wider because I want it to be a regulation ATC. It's too late for me to take that off. I could layer it on the front. And that way you can see the zipper. I think that's what I'll do. I think this is the last little piece of this zipper that I got in a swap. And I have seen them on Temu. I've got some in my cart. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. On my next cart. I've been tending to kind of curate my cart a little bit more, spend a little more time deciding what to purchase, and waiting for them to give me discounts on it. Because they will. If they see that you're not buying, they will try to get you to buy by giving you 99% off, or 3 things for a penny each, or just free things. You get a lot more for your money that way. So if you just don't be too eager to purchase on Temu. Work on your cart, get it to exactly what you want, and then wait for the offers to roll in. Yeah, I like that. Even though I've covered up some of that joy, I still like that touch of pink. It kind of is a bit of a foreshadowing to what's on the back, the pink words that I tried so hard to save. And then I've got a softer pink flower here that I can use. And again, where do I want to put this? I don't really want to cover those dots for some reason, but maybe this little flower can go there. I don't think any of the rest of these are colored. So we'll do one little flower. I'm going to put the smiley face to the side like a moon. Oops, I said it and then I didn't do it. Like that, so it doesn't look like a smiley face. And then another little button. Maybe a darker pink. Maybe a cream colored button too. Yeah. I still might put a little piece of bling. Two little glue blobs. That button's just perfect for there. It really doesn't take much for these little collages. Let me just see if I have an appropriate little mini tag to put on. I've got some that have like a burgundy red, pinkish red. Brownish with some red writing. That one will work. I want this down at the bottom. Up at the top, I've got words up there. I think I'll have this wrapping around. So I might need to clamp it to get it to stick. And not evenly. I don't want it evenly wrapped around. I'll do like that. Actually, I'm going to do it on a bit of an angle. Just clamp that down till it has a chance to dry. And I already put my label in there, yep. And then this one, so grateful for you, be brave, hello, do your thing. So it doesn't need much. I can put, that's not quite the right green. That one really doesn't need much. Maybe what I'll do is just bling it up a bit. Where it says be brave, I'll add a little bling over that star. And where it says so grateful for you, I'll put a little bling at each end. And then in the hello, we've got this really, really pale aqua background. It almost makes me want to do something there. Maybe I'll just do a little button trio up in this corner and add a tag somewhere up in there. My tags are different red than the writing that's on there. Let's see what we've got for a die cut that could go on here. I don't know that the coloring is right on these ones. The aqua is sort of, oh, there we can do an aqua butterfly. That works. Gives me a little more bling. I'll just ink those edges. Maybe I'll put a couple. And I think that might be all that it needs. When you've got such an intricate masterboard, you don't need a whole lot more. I like something to pop off the page. these down. That one that way. And this one this way. Maybe just a little bit of lace along the bottom of the word hello, because we've got some writing that's kind of cut off. And I just have a piece of lace that's about that width, so we'll just put it right down there and let it be loose on the top edge. Glue down at this end. That's almost like a upside down eyelash on there. It's kind of cute. And then the label on the back with some ink. In the usual location. Sign and date. And put master board. Remy. So I'm really quite pleased with those. Now this one I decided was going to be a belly band that maybe I want a grommet at each end. Certainly at least hole protectors. Maybe in an aqua color. I don't know if I have any in that color. Seeing them. The other thing that I could do, I'm not sure, I think I will do, is just plan to use these with it. Maybe something like this, if that. Yeah, I like the look of that. Just a simple piece of hardware going through there. I don't think those are the same color. Let me just see here. Not quite. For me, it could be either colors as long as they're both the same. So I'm just going to put them on it. I might want to put a piece of like a hole protector behind that when I actually go to use it, but I just want to have this on there so that I can remind myself that that was going to be a belly band. That's how I'll attach it to the page. And I don't think it needs anything else. Remy just made such a nice collage there. Like I don't feel the need for lace. I think just the shape that I put it into and then the hardware is enough to make it unique. This little guy is just all neutral. So I think I want his little topper to be neutral as well. And I don't want to lose this shape. So I think I'm going to do a simple tie topper. Maybe with this fabric. It has another texture. And I'm just going to continue this tear. This short piece is probably plenty big enough. I might even be able to go skinnier. Let's do this. Leave it fat. Pull it through. Usually, lately I've been wanting to add like pink or aqua with the neutrals, but this one, well, it does have a touch of aqua there. So I'm going to cut that on an angle, and cut that on an angle. Free it up just a bit. The cut just looked a little fresh. That's better. And then that aqua blue down in this corner that I didn't really notice before makes me think we need to add a bit more of that. So maybe some more of those little tiny butterflies. It's the right size for this, and here's one that's even nicer. Needs some major inking. Always like them on a bit of an angle for some reason. I don't think they fly straight up and down. They go all over the place, don't they? They flutter. Put these both up at the top so that the blue down at the bottom is still visible. And then, because I've got some real sparkle going there, I think I'd like to add some more. The mauve isn't going to cut it, but maybe these clear ones. Yeah, that's too. There's clear bling with these butterflies that I can use just to fill in around them so that they look like they're magical. Oops. And one more, like uneven numbers of things like that. And I'm going to just cut that so it goes in the drawer a little easier. That's cute. Totally changed the vibe of it, but I just noticed that little bit of blue down there that needed to be brought into the picture. And now for the most fun part, let's do this little booklet. And let's see what we're working with here. The writing goes this way, but then on the back it'd be upside down. So do a sideways book. You do a book like this. Doesn't really matter which way it goes. It really doesn't. Well, let me just see. I've got some pre-made little expanding pockets. That's a bit small. I've kind of been into the expanding pockets lately. I could do a little expanding pocket insert for there, but this one's a bit small. Although, I could store tags in it. Make a bunch of tags that are this tall. Maybe I'll start fresh, make one. So I can show you how it's done too, because I haven't done a very good explanatory video for that. So let's see, what colors have I got? I've got these colored papers, maybe that green paper for this one. The color I don't use a lot, but we've got it there and we've got it on this side too. So I'm either going to make a little booklet or a little expanding pocket. What do I want to do? Expanding pocket could be this height, and so could the booklet. Let's do this. Let's just make it a little booklet. So that's where I want to fold. And I'm going to tear instead of cut. Just a little long. Take another little tiny bit off of that. And as I've said before, if you're going to take a little bit off, you need to do it like this. Put your ruler down over top and pull on the wider side. Easy way to get thin strips off. That's better. And then width. Like that. Maybe I can get 2 pages out of each fold. Make sure they're going straight. I might be able to tear this one this way. I don't need to put too many pages in. Over here. I think I'm just going to do the fold. Do that top tear. That's really crooked. Do the fold straight. Tear the top edge. And then tear the width. Sorry, I'm probably out of screen here on you. do 4 pages. That might be all that needs, just a little insert into a pocket. And I think that I'm just going to staple it in. If I can locate my stapler. Here it is. And I'm going to put maybe a little doily or something in the middle. See if I've got one small enough. Because it's got that peachy color, I think I'm going to do this. Half of one of these. These ones Wanda sent me. And that'll just fit in there. Pages lined up how I want them, and then put it in the book how I want it, in the cover. And a little bit of the file folder showing on each side, just a sliver. And then when I do my stapling, I want the open part of the staple on the inside so that the spine of the staple is out here. And that's kind of tricky. I'm hoping this will reach. It will. I'm going to do 2 staples. So it's pretty good lining up on the edge there. And then on the inside, it could be covered with some lace or something. Something flat. Just a strip of this. Actually, there's a shorter one there. Perfect. It's like it was meant to be. I'm thinking maybe I will do some matchbook notepads soon. This is kind of like lace on lace, but that's all right. To leave that open for a minute. And then to tie it up, I'm just wondering if something like this would work. Could almost do a couple of things. There's a piece of red and a piece of green, which is a strange combination, especially for me. But those colors are both in the cover. I just want that to dry first, but I'll go ahead and show you. I'll do this. Now I've got these loose, and to how I think I'm going to do it, I need them attached together. So let's just staple them together with an X. I don't know if that'll hold. Sure about that at all, but let's go ahead and put this through both holes. And again, this is somewhere where I might want to add a hole protector. I could do a metal one. That'll give that lace time to dry. So Rami, you've really inspired me today to make something that I would never have made if you hadn't sent me that masterboard. So I really have to thank you for that. So thank you. And if you're seeing this and I haven't sent them to you already, let me know if you would like them. I will send you some things that I made with them. So here, let's do, I already got the hole and it's pretty big, so I want a fairly big eyelet. I don't think I want black. I could do gold. Use the ones that came with it if they're not too big. So these ones have the rings. So I will use the rings. So I put the good side here. This is just gonna work. Those holes are almost too big, but not quite. And this, I think, round side up, I believe. I think this is a bad video. I think I'm too far out of the camera. I'm sorry if that's the case. Ooh, that worked nicely. And you don't have to squeeze very hard with this. It's like it's double jointed or something. It does the work for you. And that's also a Temu product. It's still a little wet. Should have used the 3-in-1. Let's see if I can get this through here. And I don't really think that I actually needed these. I know what I could do. Instead of the staples, I'll take those out. I'm going to tie them together instead, which makes a lot more sense. Staples are just making it too much of a flat spot there. I'm going to take these two things and just tie them together so that they don't separate every time I take it off of here. Well, the other thing I could do is tie one end to one side. That went through. I just got to poke this one through. So I'll tie it at one side, leaving a tiny little tail. Until I'm making this up as I go. Only not certain what I'm doing, I'm not certain I like it. I like the colors. I just don't see how I'm going to get it through to the other side. Because position this knot way off center like that. And then I can go through the other side and tie again. It's not really what I want to do though. I think it's got to be maybe I just do the one piece. It's the two pieces that's making it difficult for me. So with this, I can just put this through. Like so. And instead of tying a regular knot, I'll tie a lark's head. And that'll hold it closed, and I can just clip it into a book or put it into a pocket. I feel like I'm all thumbs today. There we go. And that's just the right color. Well, it's a bit bright, but I like it. So cute. And then when you want to use it, you just undo the knot, open it up, and that's still wet in there, so I better leave it open for a minute. So Remy, you can see I got a lot of things made out of your little master board. Did I use all of it? I think I did. Both pieces. Allowed me to break into my green paper pad, which I hadn't done yet. Let's put my stuff away here and set these out so we can see what we made. Sort of like when my sister and I go shopping, we come back to the hotel room if we're away on a shopping trip. We bring everything into the hotel room and put it out on the bed and see what we bought. Let's see what we made. Okay, so we have our little booklet. I'm just going to put this through the easier way this time. Our little booklet. Our 3 ATCs, 2 with the new fold over idea. You've got a short tag and a long tag, and a mini tag, and then a belly band, and 4 little tiny either journaling cards or tags or back plates for letters or words. So quite a little haul of ephemera from 1.5 master boards, 8.5 by 11 master boards. So thank you, Rami. I have given you credit, and I will probably send you back something that I made out of your master board, because I think that's always fun to receive back something that you sent made into something. I think that's always fun. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this. I did have to cut a few things out where I got interrupted, but we made it through. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. But most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.